evening. Welcome to the Plympton Public Safety Building Committee meeting. This meeting is being recorded for cablecast and YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. The video of this meeting is not to be considered an official public record. Alrighty. We are winding down, but we're not quite there.
You're not quite there. I haven't done a final audit, and I have to do a final audit for you guys. I haven't done the final audit because there's a couple of things that are just jumbled that Rob was supposed to do. He didn't do because we switched from Comcast to Verizon. Comcast to Verizon Business, and our VPN just went mental, so no one has been able to get access to the server. Don't even ask me how it works. You know, I don't. You're gonna laugh at me. So anyway, it's been corrected, but not in time. The last time I met with you, I obviously missed the last meeting with you guys. I talked to you guys by phone, but the one item that obviously has changed since the last meeting is we had a visit from the Department of Public Health. They are required to visit and certify the cells before you can use the cells. We had expected to get rejected, and we didn't get rejected. I was shocked.
Why did you expect to get rejected?
Because they're really particular on certain things, and we didn't really know whether we did it perfect, to be honest with you. So we had just assumed, because all OPMs talk, and it's like, oh, you're gonna flunk the first time. So we passed. We did have two deficiencies. Both deficiencies were related to operations. Not that you're operating incorrectly, but you didn't have readily available to the inspectors a check log, things like that. So those type of operational things. The chief did correct those and send them in, so you're good to go. It was pretty amazing considering that the chief did not make he was taking as many vacations days ago. He could not make the DPH inspection, but he watched it and listened from his phone. Wow. So yes, all the technology works, which I thought was awesome. Because I called him and I said, "Hey, I want to give you the good news." Oh, you don't have to tell me. I was watching on the phone. So
you should put your server over there.
So that's the great news. We had a significant rain event, and the detention base. We had a couple of things go on water-wise with this site. One not related to our project, but probably impacted by the construction of the project, which the contractor helped correct and your DPW director helped correct, which is the back door over here and the grading by the back door. So if you go out the back door now, you'll see it's been regraded. The regrading was done by the contractor. The little asphalt berm at the top of the stair was done by your DPW. So we met out here, we solved the problem. Both parties agreed to do it so that there was no issue. We had a failure of, we had a really bad rain event. We got like 8 inches in 3 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys remember? And when we had that event, the water went down the hill and into the DPW yard from our site, through our detention basin. So we took a look at it, and it was pretty clear. The water level never really rose inside the pond. I guess I'll stop by saying there's two types of basins. There's detention and retention. Do you guys know the difference between the two? One holds the water and it slowly leaches down. The other slows the water down and it leaks out. So we have to slow the water down and leak it out. But it wasn't slowing down, it was going straight underneath the big concrete block there. And when you look at the design, it has a pipe and going underneath it, and the water was just going in. We actually think it'll slowly gum up and solve its own problem. But in the meantime, we put a cap on the end of the direct pipe to see in the next storm whether that would make a difference. so that it would fill up and slowly go down. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you, because if that doesn't work, it's a design problem, because the water leaving the basin doesn't have enough time to percolate into the ground. Art, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Doesn't have enough time to percolate in the ground, and it starts running on the surface and gets to the DPW. It in itself is not a problem with the DPW, except for if it's icy or it's cold, it'll make a real mess over the DPW. So we thought we'd try a couple of things before really making a significant change there. The first thing we're gonna try is packing some clay around the end of the line. And I actually wanna walk you guys out there to show you what it's doing so you understand it. And putting a cap on the pipe so that the water actually does go up. It's designed to go up, and it's also designed to overflow, and then it's designed to overflow a second time over the spillway. We're not even getting to the spillway. We're not even getting to the first overflow. It's just running right through to the DPW gap.
But how much of this is because of the fact that it was an insane rain event versus being a good storm? You know, we don't
know that.
I don't know that I've ever been in Plympton with
That much rain.
6 to 8 inches in a couple of hours. I mean, that's, we're just not sure, so we're gonna see what it does with.
I wanna say that you're correct, but I also know that it's designed for a 100-year event. Okay?
Probably pretty close.
It was probably close to a 100-year event,
I mean, that's so
but it
much.
doesn't appear that it worked properly. My issue is I don't think it worked properly
Right.
for the event. It should have filled with water.
Right.
And so there's a little slit in it, all right, and then it becomes there's a baffle, and the water gets up, you know, the baffle holds the crap behind it, you know, anything that's floating, and the water goes up, and then it gets wider. You've seen the T's and structures everywhere you go. It gets to a certain weight, and then it gives it relief. If it doesn't get that relief from the expanded outlet, it goes to the overspill. We didn't even get to the first relief. I mean, the water line only got this deep.
To have that much water run through that.
What we were easily determining was, it calls for a pea stone throughout the entire length of the basin, and there's a pipe in that pea stone. And the water's getting in and just running. It's never collecting and slowing it down, and it's designed to slow it down. It's designed so that if our building wasn't there and our parking lot wasn't there and it rained, the water would release as if we were never there. And clearly, you never had a rain event where water went down to the DPW, have you?
I don't think so.
I bet you haven't.
Well, we haven't had it, I'm not sure we've had.
I bet you
I
haven't.
bet we haven't.
I mean,
had Well, but the other difference is that I don't think we've had not even that significant as that one event, but I'm not sure we've had any huge significant events since we cleared the site. I mean, that's the other piece, is that.
Yeah, but that's why you put the basin.
No, I
because
understand.
To mitigate all that.
But before, you know, I think we had, I don't think water from here would have gone down there, because I think it was
a little
stuck.
burned.
We were
Right.
stuck in this basin here, and
So the basin didn't have a clay shell up to a certain elevation?
No, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to leach and it's supposed to do leaching and exhale at the same time,
Well,
discharge.
the ones that I've been involved in, there was always a clay shell up to a given
And
elevation.
that would be,
And then it would perk.
that would be
Soil.
a detention basin. So this is a retention basin. It's designed to slow it down, not stop it. If it's got clay, it's stopping it,
Yeah.
and it's slowly.
But it allows it to collect. It
Right.
gives it the time to collect, to get to the point where it can perk.
So our solution was cap the pipe, put a little clay underneath the concrete structure, okay? Accept the fact that some water's gonna go in the stone, all right? But cap the pipe, because it's just, the pipe is a 4-inch pipe. And it's just running through the pipe, and then it gets into the box, and an exit on the box is 6-inch. And when it comes out of that 6-inch, it's full. It's supposed to, the 6 inch is supposed to handle 6 inches of water, and discharge it to percolate. If, in an overflow situation, it's just running through. So, we're gonna try this and see if we can get it to go up and down. And we haven't had an event since we fixed it.
Yeah.
All right, as a matter of fact, I was expecting to see grass down here. I see all the seed, and it's not good grass either. So, we are working on it. We got a call, we responded that day. The contractor was on vacation the following week. We came out here, met with the DPW director. He and I walked it. We identified what the problem was. The contractor, the installer of the basin, and myself met. We went over every possible scenario. We want to try a couple of things before we go crazy with the thing. And we think just slowing it down and capping it might be the first step. Because John might be right. It was such an event that it might never ever happen again. Or it might happen once every 15 years.
But Dan, as I understand it,
Yep.
that pipe basically goes straight through and shoots right out the other side.
No.
I mean, in effect, because it's not using those
Correct.
grapples.
Correct. That's what's occurring today.
Right.
That's why I capped it.
So the water was basically shooting through, and is it a design problem?
I don't know. I didn't go that far with the engineer, to be honest with you. I didn't want to go down that path yet. I wanted to see if we could just cap the pipe to see what it would do. It's such a large basin. We're not collecting that much water. It should easily handle the amount of water,
Yeah.
even in a 4-6 inch rainstorm. I
Well,
mean, that's a huge volume.
And
The
you've got-
water would never, ever went up. And remember, as you go up, the volume gets wider.
yeah,
We're not taking advantage of all the stuff we designed.
right.
That in my mind is what makes it so serious. I mean, the basin is big enough.
Right.
It should be big enough to handle the situation.
And if the situation is biblical, that's why we have the overflows.
Right.
And one of the overflows runs towards the street, the other one runs towards the DPW garage. And if you have an event where it overflows, I don't care what you have.
Everyone's
Everyone's
wet.
wet, including the DPW. All right, so, the good news is the water naturally runs to the left of the salt shed and doesn't affect the salt. That, if there's any good news in this whole thing, it doesn't hit the salt shed. The bad news is it should never get there,
Right,
but it's a lot closer than you think.
right.
And it doesn't appear to be a really big area for that water to leach out, to be honest with you. I think they want more to leach in the basin. I think too much is running through. Have not gone down the path with the engineer yet. We wanted to cap the pipe and see what it does. If it fails again in the next rainstorm, we'll monitor it. Then, you know, we're gonna call in contacts and say, fix it, fix the design. Because it is definitely built correct. You know, no doubt in my mind it's built correct. We also had a couple of washouts on the sides. And where it was washing out, where the water comes in, they had a pipe coming through. We added some riprap in some of those areas too. Added riprap as opposed to trying to get it to graze, to turn into grass, because it's just not gonna. I mean, you just get too much rain. It's just never gonna take. And they have the grass stabilization out there. They have everything that they're supposed to have. It's just not gonna work. So, you see this all the time when you're driving down the highway and they're building a road, and you see it wash out during the storms, and they go back and they fix it, and they go back and they fix it, and they go back and they fix it, you go back 10 years later, and you still see runoff on some of those big slopes on the highway. This shouldn't happen on the slopes. We think we solve that with riprap. But the water running through, it just doesn't appear right. We think we're gonna solve it by just eliminating the direct conduit. The actual stone will slowly plug itself.
In doing this, do we not in effect take some of the onus off the engineer?
If the solution is to
I mean,
cap.
he's not gonna come back at us and say, well, if you hadn't done this.
No, because if it doesn't work, we have to go to the engineer. We just take the cap off and say, okay, go on down in the rainstorm.
So if it,
It's not gonna fail by putting the cap on.
so if it does work, is there any reason to go to the engineer and say, this is what we did to solve this problem, is there anything else you would like us to do? Like, do you want a cap that allows for a small amount of water to get out? And-
We actually had that discussion too, do we go 4 to 2? And we thought, let's just cap it to see
Well,
if
no,
it works. 'Cause
figure out what's.
after we cap it, if it's still running by the pipe and through the stone channel, I have no choice but to go back to the design engineer, because to put clay under that concrete box that's out there, the outfall box, is not a simple thing to do. You know, I gotta take that all out, I gotta dig it down and get, compact to 10 to the -7, there's a whole scenarios that we have to do to get that to work right. So that is the only thing that right now, I can honestly say is not right on this project. I think we've gotten everything else. We've had a couple of doors that weren't working right, they came back. A couple of cameras, we had a couple of hiccups, they came back. So every time there's been a call, we've answered the call. And that'll be like that for a year. After a year, it becomes your problem. But for a year, when something comes up, it's like this building, when something goes wrong, you select and call somebody and it gets fixed.
Well, my concern is if this makeshift repair, is that gonna last? I mean, what's to say it's still gonna
It's not the
hold
final solution.
10 years from now?
No. Don't misunderstand this.
Okay.
We want to see if it works for a couple of storms. If it does, we're gonna ask the engineer to come up with a solution.
Okay.
All right, we're not,
Just put the
I don't,
thing in
yeah,
and
we're
that's
not, we're gonna,
I'm
we're gonna
not
have the
happy with
engineer
that.
come up with the actual permanent solution, but I know the engineer needs data. I know he does.
Yeah.
And I don't see how that land can perk that much water that's coming out of it. I mean, it's a lot of water.
Well, a lot farther away before we built the police station. You know what I mean? I mean, we took up half of the.
I know that, but that's in their design, John. I'm not, the
I know.
engineer, and I gotta be honest with you,
Heck of a
we never
slope.
did percolations out there where the outfall pipe is. How did he make the calculation?
Well, and it's kind of like, that's like, you get a little bit out there.
Yeah, but I'm not even worried about that, because even running down a slope, it will percolate in as it's going down a slope if the soil is conducive to percolation. It disperses and becomes a big giant leaching field, but open air.
Right.
But you had to be here to see it. I mean, the videos were unbelievable. I mean, I came here the day after and it was still running. And it was only this deep.
Is there any feel for how much clay is needed?
No. I don't,
That may be difficult to find.
well, clay might not be the solution, it might be a concrete barrier under it. I don't know what the engineer's final solution will be, but it is gonna be, it's gonna be discussed. I just need to know whether if we back it up,
What protection do we have if we don't experience this situation for another 18 months, 24 months?
I can't give you that answer. I don't know. That's an unknown that I can't answer.
I mean, one of the things that we have concerns about is that, does that water going down, and I wasn't too far behind you and Scott.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
And
it was
as it
phenomenal.
goes down the hill, if it undermines the asphalt on the back side and then gets down into the foundation of the salt shed, water's insidious, and that could create problems down there.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
not,
the asphalt collapsing in, the
I'm
foundation.
actually not worried about that. I'm worried about the retaining wall. So the retaining wall is my concern about this, because it
Yeah.
has to go like that over the retaining wall.
Right.
All right, so I'm really not worried about the salt shed, and I'm actually not even worried about the asphalt, because once it hit the asphalt, it kind of ran. But it's the retaining wall that is the biggest issue.
The water doesn't like to have to work.
Water
It's gotta do that.
has
It's gonna
issues when it
find-
goes uphill,
It's gonna find another way to do it.
so,
Did it go out into the street at all?
yeah, I think, I would say that
That would be a
some,
concern of mine
So-
in the cold weather if, ice and.
well, I mean, it goes right into the the new state supplied catch basin that's right there, so, I mean, it's not
It doesn't
running
run
down the street now.
58.
You got several catch basins. There's one on the hill, there's
Yep.
one a little further down.
It's one at the bottom of where we are.
So you've got a number of catch basins.
It's not running out onto.
I don't know where those go. Do you know where those go?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know where they go, like, catch basin. Just kidding, that was a joke. It was humor, guys, humor. All right, but I think, you know, when we conclude the meeting, we should do a site visit so you can at least see it and understand what we're talking about. But I want you to know, again, we call the contractor came up. So, I mean, he's been responsive to everything, and clearly he's saying, look, we installed it the right way, it looks like he did. You know, we weren't here every single day to see if it was 18 inches of stone and not 24 or 16, whatever, but that kind of shouldn't matter. It appears as though it just runs through. It's really a phenomenal thing to watch.
So we need to give it time, but, you know, see if it happens again or whatever, how it reacts.
We'll get a thunderstorm with a 2-inch rain.
But like Harry, I'm a little concerned that, you know, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, whatever, it's clearly a design fault and we're still living with it.
Okay, here's,
So what happens if it is a design fault?
That's what we're asking you.
So that's what we're wrestling with. You know, I know we didn't do a perk test out there. I wanna know how they calculated the discharge pipe.
That would seem to be an issue with context.
Yeah. You know, how did they calculate this? Maybe they calculated it to be a retention basin and not a detention basin, but they detailed it as a detention basin. If that was the case, capping it will solve all of it as long as we plug that channel underneath.
here's just a thought. In this town, we have no public water supply.
Right.
So we have a 3,000-gallon tanker truck. And I believe Middleborough has one. I mean, we could create our own 100-year rainstorm, backing up 6,000, or maybe Halifax has one, 9,000 gallons of water, and putting it in that little thing, and then watch what happens.
I think if you calculated how many gallons of water it is, I bet you it's more than that. Yeah, that's a big area. It's a big area than you think. And an inch times that area. But I'll calculate that out. Then you just gave me a math problem to do.
But, no, maybe just even think about putting each of the trucks in there, I think that's it. And the water isn't the whole truck, there's a whole bunch of truck there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's probably a lot.
It was a lot of water. I mean, it was a lot of water that day. I mean, it was spectacular.
Those two side little areas
Yeah.
were flowing into
Right.
the big one, but looking down, where's the water? There's none. You know, it's, oh yeah, there is, it's going out the other end.
Yeah.
It already left.
It already left.
No, I walked down there and I saw it going out that wide.
The flared end.
Yep.
Right, so, but let's go walk it, and I will write a letter to context on what we've done, and that we think it's a problem, and would like the civil engineer to come out and take a look. All right, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bigger question, you mentioned.
You're not on this committee.
No, I know, but I'm a citizen.
Is this open forum?
That up to a year, if there's an issue, we
Yep.
get back to you guys after a year, it's our problem. Should we be doing something toward the end of a year, just to make sure we're?
What you need to do is have a townwide maintenance department. It's what you really need to do, but you don't. But the HVAC system in there, all the filters need to be changed quarterly, yearly. You know, there's PM that needs to be done on the building. There's PM that needs to be done on some of the systems in there, and that's, all of that information is bookletized and coming to you, but someone needs to own it and take care of it.
All right, so there's the maintenance stuff, but towards the end of the year, should we have some system to touch base all around and make sure there's nothing that we feel like that isn't right?
Yeah, I mean,
Probably be a touch base, I would think 10 months, at about the 10-month
yeah,
point.
at the 10-month point, you guys want to do a walkthrough to see if something's broken or fixed.
So,
know,
so
failed.
maybe that'd be a good thing.
But
to
I'm
just
gonna
do.
warn you about certain things, okay? So, if the roof's missing shingles, things like that, windstorm, believe it or not, in the first year, they own it. The second year, you own it,
Right,
all right?
and that's what I don't want to
But,
get. Oh, go ahead.
but, like doors not working properly, those require monthly PM. No one's doing any PM on the doors. All right? And all those closes, they get adjusted. So when a door doesn't close properly, it's usually an adjuster and it's turning a screw. That kind of stuff becomes yours immediately. HVAC system will become junk quickly if we don't change filters, you know.
So has someone been kind of
We don't
detailed
have
over
that
there?
material yet, right?
Well, we did train the police department and the police chief and whoever else was there, I forget, but we did have
We
training.
don't have the maintenance manuals.
I think they do have some of the maintenance manual. I don't think we have a complete full set yet.
Is there like a checklist
Yep.
of the systems, and this needs to be done monthly, this needs to be done every 6 months? And so that we can hand that to
Someone
the
should-
towns?
Well, someone should do it and sign off on it, and it should be kept, because I think
I will-
the
I-
point you're trying to make is that
I will
if
have-
we have routine maintenance,
Right.
and we're not doing it, and we get to the 10-month point, and something's not
I
right,
will-
they're gonna say, touch
Right.
it.
We have a standard checklist that we give out at a close of a building usually. This one was a little bit different. You guys.
Everything was a little bit different.
Yeah,
I
this
understand.
one was a little different, but I'll put together that checklist by system. It'll take me about a month. And you can then take that, we'll put a column in there to be checked off, so someone signs off on it. Hopefully, they'll use it. We find that when we come back a year later, they haven't, but it's in the janitor's closet, usually pinned up on a wall, so at least to remind them. But like flushometers need to be checked. You know, there's things that need to be done. It's a complicated building. It's not a
Did
simple
they
building.
know this? Did the police
Yeah,
know?
they know, chief knows it, or the former chief knows it. But the former chief leaving
Right.
creates your first void. But the second in command that we dealt with knows all of it. So, and what he doesn't know, he asks. Right? But that's a good point. I'll make sure you get a full set of O&Ms. I think we asked for 3 sets of O&Ms for this job, 1 for the building, 1 for the Board of Selectmen, and 1 for the file. All right?
All right, so then we have invoices.
So you cut back the contractor. It is our recommendation you pay him in full because he's completed and he's on warranty. You know,
Yeah, we held back 50,000.
he held back 50,000. I don't know of anything that's not complete. Now, it's not his fault that the basin's not right, and if it is his fault, we go after his bond.
Yeah.
All right, so I would pay the contractor and I would pay the OPM, because we're both done.
We held back,
The OPM's making
Yeah,
less
we're
than
going
minimum.
off a pizza
When
on
you-
your dime.
When you didn't pay us last month, it went, Rob, I think now we're making less than minimum wage.
we held back 3,500 on people.
I think that's all we were owed in the whole job.
Yeah, that's the end.
That's the end, so. It wasn't a whole lot of money for this one.
And we have a
You got
new
bragging
one,
rights,
say.
though.
Huh?
You got bragging rights.
Yeah. A lot of good that stuff. I just lost one in West Hampton.
Okay, so let's start with the APC, the 50,000. Any discussion, any reason to not? Okay, we're all happy now? Okay, so motion to,
Make a motion, we pay the contractor.
50,000, and the second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Carries. Same thing on P3, we've got 3,500 on that.
Is
Motion
that
to-
all?
That's it. Motion to pay the remainder of this invoice?
That's gas money for me to get back.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Otherwise, I have to live at the Plympton Town Hall.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And we have a new one from APC. It got to us at the end of,
Oh, this is, I don't know whether this is coming out of police or whether this is coming out of you. I would ask you to vote it, let me hold it, make a note that you pay it, you approved it. But I think this was coming out of the,
on the budget from the last one.
Yeah.
Here, but that's,
it came out of here, but it was so close, it might be a split one. That's why I want to do the audit. So some of this might be coming out of the police chief's slush fund, I call it the slush fund I gave him. All right?
so do you want to approve it now, or do you want to just hold it until the next meeting? If you're, it's gonna take you a month to do the audit.
Why don't we approve it pending,
Why don't you approve it?
pending,
And then the other.
I mean, I can't say, even if I submit the bill and there's not enough money there, it's not gonna get processed, so. But if it's not gonna get processed, we just have to double code it and half the bill go to one and half the bill go to the other.
So this is for the cell intercom system.
Right. If you remember, that was the last thing that we got absolutely zero assistance from the GGD on this. And we were really lucky to get it done. That's all I can say.
Okay, so motion to approve this bill.
yeah, I would make a motion to approve it pending OPM input.
Right?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Doesn't that look nice? Doesn't that look good? Did the public like it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming, it's good. You're lucky. I mean, this could have been a horror show.
I'm very well aware of how lucky we are.
I think that's the piece that everybody likes most, is there just weren't a lot of stumbles along the way, and just quiet.
We only have the one little claim that we're.
That little is the word in that sentence.
Yeah, that I did get some backup on it, and I rejected the backup, so he's gonna give me some more backup. So I'm gonna do that for a few
Okay,
months.
so that was on my.
Just to drag us out to
We had
January.
two issues, which is the APC claim, so
Yeah.
we're still working on that,
Yeah.
and how we will address that.
Do you want, so this is an important question. Our next meeting should be the last meeting, I should be giving you a final audit. By the way, the final audit will be in conjunction with your account, so that we agree on the numbers. So when I say final audit, we think we know where we are. Rob thinks we're at like $189 over, so something, insignificantly over, all right?
So you're gonna work with Barbara.
So we're gonna work with Barbara to make sure that she doesn't have any straggler bills and we didn't misdo a digit, because with all the invoices, it's real simple to make a simple error that would cause us to be wrong. If that's the case, once we have that final audit, I'll bring it back to you guys and we'll figure out how to deal with it.
So we only had one change order for the whole job,
One change order.
and you're giving Barbara that paperwork.
I gave 3 copies of that paperwork to the town administrator's office. One should have gone to Barbara. It sounds like it didn't. The originals are in her office.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
She has them. Because she had to sign them. I think she signed them as the procurement officer.
Mhm.
So, I have a copy electronically, if that's what will be good enough for her.
Mhm.
But she's gonna need that to pay that bill.
Okay. I expect that Liz will follow up with you.
Okay.
She said that last week.
Yeah, she hasn't called me, so I'm assuming she found them.
Okay, so the APC claim, we will need to determine, or
Well-
the select will need to determine how that will be paid.
What I was gonna say is, you could be discharged, it's not gonna be resolved for a year, or till next May. I'm not even gonna work on it until January.
Okay.
I told them it wouldn't be resolved till May. I'm gonna just keep asking for more information from him to really get it to the penny. And then we'll, since it's a claim, usually that's a selectman function, it doesn't involve you guys unless you wanna weigh into the selectmen. I mean, the work was done, the question is to the degree of the work is, the real issue isn't, did he do the work? He did do the work. The question is, how much of the work was contract, and how much of the work was extra? And that's where the line is, for whether, how much of the claim he gets paid. All right, so it's gonna be a tough sell that he gets that full claim. But there's something in there that he's owed, and I just don't know what the number is. I don't have enough information.
And the ultimate decision for the selectmen will be whether we take it to legal, knowing that we're just gonna settle it, or if we take it to town meeting.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it to legal, you can settle it internally. I'm assuming with the transfer or a legal fund. If you don't wanna go that route, he knows that it's not being paid. I told him at the earliest it could be paid was May, either way. And he's okay with it, he just doesn't want to be screwed out of it because he really believes he's owed it, so. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think it's worth about, 30 to 50% of what he's claiming. I just haven't been able to fully identify it yet, but I will.
Okay.
And of course, context is like, it's not,
Well, that was the whole issue, wasn't it? The Enzo disagreement. Rob had said you were going to bring a final budget, but we're not doing that.
Rob promised you a final budget when Rob thought he could get on the VPN and do the final budget, and that was resolved today around 4 o'clock. Rob said, I'm never going to do it on time. If you want to blame me, I'll never see those guys again.
All right, so we have minutes from the last meeting. Everybody get a
You guys scared him away like a year ago.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain from voting.
And then this last thing was actually a question that I was talking in the town clerk's office. I have not renewed my open meeting law certification or whatever. You get to take a little test online. So I'm just encouraged, you have to do it every 2 years. And remind you all to be current. There's also an acknowledgement of receipt of the sexual harassment, conflict of interest, that sort of thing. So if you have any questions.
That's not annual, that's a reappointment, isn't
Every 2 years, I think.
I don't know.
it? 3 years.
Yeah, she didn't make, that wasn't clear to me, but if we're all going to be reappointed to a different committee, then we're gonna have to do it again anyway,
You doing another one of these? You guys are glutton.
so basically, that's it.
He wants to build a new fire station.
Oh.
We're trying to talk him out of it.
Where's my hammer?
Big one, 20,000 square feet, was it bigger than Carver's?
It barely lights the cover.
Kool-Aid again.
We want octagon windows, not curves.
Anything else for discussion tonight?
Let's go out and take a look before it gets dark.
Next meeting on September 4th.
That would be Labor Day week, or is that before
That's
Labor Day?
It's
Week before.
No, it's right, Labor Day is Monday, that's the second.
Oh, okay, it's fine with me.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Good night, thank you for watching.